Okay, we'll bring the meeting to order, and I do see Mindy has her hand up.
Yes, I was unable to print the general fund resources page. It wanted a password.
Oh, it's got a password on it?
Evidently.
And you're gonna be getting another page as well, Mindy. Which
Okay,
is the third page of the requirements summary, not allocated general fund. It was not part of the packet we originally received.
okay. I'll look for that.
Mindy,
Yeah.
when I printed mine today, the last page had that on and I just kept hitting it and it finally let me print it.
Okay, I'll try again.
I just kept saying I wanted it. I didn't give up. I didn't give a pass. I didn't give up.
Is that computer language? I just kept saying I want it.
I want it and I want it now.
Right.
Give it to me.
Okay, so we are starting with the requirements summary, which is page 42. I should have said the meeting is back in session at 12. What is it? 4:40? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it still won't let me print it.
Okay. Can you at least see it on your screen so you can open it and look at it? Mindy?
I'll try.
If you reduce the zone.
Well, no, it won't let me open it to look at it. So I can't even look at it, let alone print it.
She's saying she can't open it.
I know, because it's the spreadsheet, it's the actual spreadsheet.
Oh. So Kelly's gonna send you,
I'm gonna send it to Mary. Mary will
oh,
send it to
Mary will send you a picture of it.
Maybe a PDF, yeah, or something, but it won't open the Excel spreadsheet.
Okay. All righty. So Paul,
Doesn't have a subject like.
Yes, Madam Chair.
we're gonna start down the line on the requirement summary.
All right. I want to preface this with, based on comments in the first part of this meeting and expectations of funding, the differences that we anticipate to occur on this page, the next meeting will be significant.
Okay, so I guess some of the thought that has just occurred to me is if the changes are going to be significant, do we want to spend the rest of our afternoon looking at this only to look at it again on June 7th? I'm going to leave that question up to the committee.
Well, if there's gonna be significant changes,
Yeah,
maybe there's
discussion.
more changes on these forms also.
I'm sorry, can we
There's
have
gonna
also?
be, sorry.
Go ahead, Mindy.
If there's gonna be significant changes, maybe we need to go through these and make sure these changes get done also.
All right, that's a good thought. Anybody else? Guillermo, you want to say anything about it?
Oh, I just said, I believe we need to have a.
Oh, discussion. Absolutely. Okay. Charles, Deanna,
Thank you. If we were to see this on June 7th, did we schedule that one already to be like a full session, or was it only a few hours?
I already had it in my calendar as 10 to 4.
Okay,
That's what I have it in mind.
thank you.
Charles,
I see some of the items here are like hundreds of dollars. I hate to get bogged down on $1,000 expense and take 2 hours.
sure.
So I'm just thinking, is there a way we can, I'm not trying to overlook anything, but we get bogged down on one thing that I think is $18. If we get bogged down on that, we'll just, stuff like that would be off.
So maybe go through it, and if it's a number that's gonna be changed, they can tell us, and we don't have to have a whole bunch of a discussion.
That I would.
Okay, Make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all right,
Yeah,
Tracy, that's where you were going?
That's where I was going. Thank you.
Okay, so go to it.
All right,
You wanna look at it?
doing good.
I just was gonna highlight things that I know that are gonna stay the same.
Well, you wanna go
Well,
line by line?
let's go line by line.
The salary and wages, we had lowballed that because we were only gonna have 14 employees. Now it looks like we'll be able to bring back some service. So what we're gonna have to do is try to time phase the funding that we're expecting. And when there's adequate funding to add a route during the year, then we'll have that route, roll it up and put it in as our new wages figure. I'm guessing from what I've heard that may go up by a factor of 2 or 2.5.
Right.
So that's definitely gonna increase. Payroll expenses will increase proportionately, as will employee benefits. So our 1.2 on personnel services may end up closer to 2.5 maybe 3.
And at this point, you're at 18 FTEs.
That was adding in the new director.
Oh, okay.
Everybody there's.
Yeah, and I thought we were at 14 plus 1. But
I can
we're,
double check that.
yeah, I think we currently have 14.
Then why does it say 18?
Pardon me?
Then why does it say 18?
I was thinking it was 18 total, but you're probably right. There's probably more.
We'll go with 18 and I'll research that and make sure it's uber accurate at our next meeting.
And I would love to see under the historical data, how many FTEs there were for each of those years. What that equates to. You don't have to tell me right this minute, but-
Yeah, no, I'm just wondering if you want an average or a high.
Oh, it's gonna be an average, obviously, because it fluctuates over the months.
It does, it does.
Is with the max, personnel cost be the 3.08 million? That seems like that's the most it was budgeted for, I guess, last period. Last actual was 3.022. We won't be back there, obviously.
No,
No, I don't foresee that.
Okay.
you know, something also just occurred to me. If we're gonna be updating these sheets, when we meet on June 7th, by that time, you should at least be able to give us year-to-date actuals through April, which would give us 10 months out of it.
Yeah, through
Well, we
April,
can
yeah,
do that.
Because you said this is through March.
through March, yeah.
Jason,
Comment by
Jason.
Sue Farmer,
Yes,
HR. She indicated 15 employees returned without Paul. And then her next comment is before furlough, there were 46 employees.
now employees and FTEs are two different numbers. And
Can Sue just?
Should Sue just go ahead and jump on if?
we should
Yeah.
just talk? She's muted.
let's leave it.
Yeah, I'll say that there was probably only one part-time employee. I think they were mostly.
Oh, full-time, okay.
All of our employees were full-time.
So 46 versus 8. So quite a discrepancy.
Well,
Well, we're sizing down.
sizing down.
And I'm gonna add that all of the 15 employees that came back are not at full-time, they're not working all of their full-time hours.
Right, and this says 18 FTEs, which is 18 full-time employees.
Right,
So-
and that number's incorrect. It should be 50.
Okay, let's get the number corrected for the June 7th meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
And you want FTEs, you don't want number.
FTEs is really how you count it when you're talking.
I agree. Okay. Provider services. You know what that is?
What is it?
Volunteers?
Yeah, they had drivers, yeah, that we would reimburse for their mileage.
Okay, so we don't have volunteers this year. Audit, we got 30,000, and I think we have a couple of audits that are included in there.
That will be our annual audit and our, what's it called, individual audit,
Single audit?
single audit.
Okay.
What's a single audit?
I would, as I keep hearing you questioning each other, I would like to make a suggestion that you do what I've had another group do, and that is, you have a chart of accounts. You should have a definition for every single item in your chart of accounts. And you can then also distribute that to us, and we know what's there.
Yeah, and to Kelly's credit, she began doing that, but we just ran out of time before this meeting, so there will be one.
Okay,
Thank you.
sounds good, thank you.
Okay, that was the audit, advertising, 1,000. Is that where your notices go?
Yeah.
Yeah, mostly.
Okay. Bank fees, 2,000, that's,
Pamela?
yes.
Why did the audits go up almost double?
It was,
No, remember,
25,000 last year. And they're, when they talked about doing our audit again, they said it would be closer to 30,000 this next year.
The one that's a year late?
I don't have any control over that.
Pardon?
I don't have any control
No, I
over
know
that.
you don't, but that's what we're talking about.
I know, and unfortunately, we can't even look at, like, you know, we don't wanna look at getting a new auditor, as trying to find an auditor right now is very difficult, and a lot of them are taking new clients.
Just for the record, it seems a little unfair. You submit something a year late and you get double the money. I'm just saying, as they say.
We haven't paid the remainder of our audit fee, because the audit hasn't been finished. The last audit hasn't been finished, so it hasn't been fully paid for. So that's why it's half the amount. That's why it only shows 14,000 in there.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
so I'm curious about something. Is auditors and things like this something that SDAO helps an organization with, a special district?
Not the annual audit or the single audit.
Okay,
It's something that's typically done.
well, by help, I mean, do they have a cadre of auditors, or do they have those that they recommend, or, you know, do they have any leverage to make sure, because I can't see a special district, I can't see any taxing district not having an annual audit and the auditor's not doing it timely. So, and I know you're at their mercy to some extent.
It's just like so many commodity shortages that we're all seeing these days. You know, people are leaving the industry and whoever is left is overburdened, whether it's accountants or doctors or, you know, teachers or bus drivers, you know, they're just in short supply. So the math is what it is.
Okay,
All right. Buildings and grounds, this is line 12. Actually, don't see that changing. 13 is building lease, and our only building lease is the office in Seaside.
Our only building lease
are you
is,
closing it?
It's what?
we had the building in Seaside and we had the storage unit.
Okay. We're talking about the status of that office in Seaside, and we do have a storage space down on Dolphin for our archive records.
So maybe 0 should not be the amount there.
That's one of the ones that was updated on the updated form.
It's possible that Watershed Council shares that space. It's possible, and,
No, don't even go there,
yeah,
don't go there.
all right, okay,
Peter, we're working off the
Gotcha.
revised one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have to find it.
Computer information technology services, we have a contract with a vendor that we pay monthly. And beyond that contract, if we have repairs or other configurations that need to be done, we pay an hourly fee. And there is, from time to time, upgrades that need to be done on a server or some other piece of equipment. So you know, looking at the past few years, I don't think this is unreasonable, although we're gonna look at each line. Conferences, training and travel. I'm not gonna be doing so much of that. You know, I'm not gonna be here forever, so I'm certainly gonna recommend when I leave that this kind of expense be limited to STAO conferences, OTA conferences, and that sort of stuff. Unless there's some specific project that's gonna directly benefit from that travel. Drug and alcohol testing is what it is. We have to do that with new employees and through the REN testing pool. Dues, subscriptions and fees. I bet
Yeah.
that's one that you identified.
That's a substantial increase.
Yeah.
The computer. It's not, that doesn't work.
IQ fund?
CAO and.
You know what, rather than us trying to guess what it
I'll
is,
look at that one again, because that doesn't, because that's
Yeah.
that's one that you mark up for June stuff.
Yeah. IGA dues and fees. We have a couple of IGs out there.
That's the fees that we pay to Tillamook for our new water.
Oh, okay, that's our dues for Nuwata. Okay, that's 3,000 a quarter.
So let me ask you, for the current year then, we budgeted 15.5 and yet it says we haven't spent anything to date.
We got $9,000 in invoices in from them in March for the first part of it, and we just actually will sign this week to send out 6,000 of it.
So it'll show in
It'll
our
show in
June
the
assessment.
No, it won't show in that because it was paid. Well, it'll show the invoices, yeah, it'll show the invoices, we just haven't,
Oh, but you didn't pay it till
we
May.
haven't paid it till May.
Okay.
So I don't understand, do you own this building? Does the district own this building?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Computers, furniture, and small tools.
Software, computer software.
Okay.
And that's outside of the contract that we have for maintenance.
Yes.
Equipment lease.
These are copiers.
So why is it going up so much?
It was 20,000 budgeted last year and it's budgeted 5,000 this year. We have a
No,
No,
Line
20.
20.
you budgeted 2,700 and now we're at
We have a
5,000.
new, we have a copier here and a copier in Warrenton that we paid leases on both. Previously, we only paid a lease here.
What happens is they get the new copier or machine goes here, the older one goes over to ops. And then when this one reaches obsolescence and lease, it goes to ops. We dispose of that when the new one is here. So they do kind of rotate because they do become obsolete. Old technology. And this is also
And
used
when it
for,
goes to ops, are you still leasing it?
This one we're still leasing.
yes.
Okay.
So they're more than just a copy machine. They replace our old faxes. We can scan something right into email to another account. They have a lot of facility to it. Outreach.
Sway ads. Lots of things fit under that kind of
Right.
paper
Okay.
publishing.
Employee recognition, and I don't know where that's gonna go. It seems a difficult time to spend money on that, but if you don't value your employees, you know, that message gets sent too. So I don't think that 5,000 is unreasonable there. That in the past has gone to cover employee of the month, employee of the quarter, employee of the year,
Party recognition.
and to
Christmas
help,
party,
pardon me?
Christmas party would be in there?
Was it Christmas? I thought we had a side fund for that. I thought that was the employees turn in aluminum cans and stuff and build up a fund for that. It may be subsidized by this, but the other thing this is used for is when we have our drivers meetings and other all hands meetings. Sometimes we have a barbecue, so we buy hamburgers
Little
or
transit day, rider appreciation, employee appreciation, that stand down.
And something substantial, not these little,
And the Rosa Parks
little,
Day.
keys with, thingamajigs on them.
Well, that's operations, that's not for us to tell them what to do.
Well, hope you heard it anyway.
election fees we won't have on an even numbered year. Fuel is always a guess, you know, the price is, I don't know, a little more than $1 more this year than it was this time last year.
But if I'm reading that right, you're going from $247,000 to $30,000?
Yes.
That doesn't sound right.
Well, again, with the new information we have on funding, we're probably gonna plan to have more
Okay.
buses out.
So number 20, line 24 is gonna be revised.
It is. Remember that we used to have 9 buses out at a time.
Yes.
And now we have,
And going to
Big
Portland,
one.
big one.
So how many buses do you have now?
1 at a time. And paratransit, but 1 fixed route bus.
Okay.
All right, insurance, you know, we're still working with our insurance company on that because as much as we would like to cancel the insurance on the buses we don't drive, we still own them. There's still some liability there. They could be vandalized. So we're gonna see if we can get a reduced rate and have adequate coverage, but save some money.
Is that SDIS or
Yes,
STIS?
yes.
And just a note, ODOT will not allow you to take off the insurance on those buses.
There we go.
For
There we go.
for security and
Carla,
procedures.
it's like a car
I
you don't
agree.
drive, you still have to have insurance.
Yeah.
You don't drive.
You can insure it at the parking rate as
Not mean park, that is mean car you drive every other week or drive
no, I
once a
agree.
month.
I agree. Okay,
Okay, 26 is legal ads, so that we had thought maybe that was,
That's for this. That's for, we have to put out legal ads
Right.
for the budget.
okay.
And this year we had to put out 3, and they were $250 each, so it's a perfect number.
yes. Okay.
Okay, I like that. Legal counsel. I don't know if
You
that's,
sure 5,000 is gonna be enough?
yeah, I don't know about that.
Paul, I don't think it's gonna be enough.
We generally have somebody on retainer, do we not?
Yeah,
Hopefully.
But they keep sending us to that.
That's not.
But we will
I
reevaluate,
think, yeah,
we'll
so line
reevaluate.
27 will be reevaluated.
Okay. Uninsured loss, that's kind of our deductible at SDAO,
Yeah, your insurance.
so.
Makes sense.
Meeting expense, I'd like to thank the members of the board, I believe, for providing refreshments today. Saved that money for the district. And I think going forward, we're probably not gonna spend money on refreshments for regular meetings.
I think the board can rotate, bring in
Yeah,
like
we
Kevin.
I think we can do that.
Yeah.
Good. The spirit of the effort. ODOT loan payment.
Now, that 309 is only if you, on the first 505,000. If you get the second one, that 309 is gonna double.
I don't know, what do you got?
Almost.
I was thinking 38,000 a quarter.
Yeah, so that's
A
what you.
quarter?
Yeah,
Okay,
So
So
that's
this-
twice that.
this would be.
all right,
both.
then, okay, then that'll work.
Can I make a comment?
Yes, please.
So that the loan repayment is gonna be factored into your STIF formula. So that money is gonna come out of that 2 million of the STIF. So it'll come out quarterly and we'll make sure the OTIF loan is paid. They didn't get the whole 505, 5,000 of that was for the loan being processed and all that other stuff. So they got 500,000. They'll repay against that and it comes out to 38 a quarter. The next loan, if they have to get one, is probably, the rate might be a little bit different, so it could be different. But I'm factoring that in as I help them rewrite their application.
So let me make sure I process that correctly. If their quarterly stiff payment would be would be $50,000. And they're, and they have a quarterly loan payment of $3,800. They really, $38,000, they'll only really get $12,000. So it's gonna show on the resources line as opposed to the expenses line, because you can't book $50,000 resource if you only got 12,000.
Right. I'll have to do a GL entry on it to show the money.
You'll have to, yes. Thank you.
Because we'll wanna show all of that money as received and the loan payment going out. So we'll wanna show that it was all, that all of the
Right.
money that they said that they were giving to us was given, but the loan payment was taken out on the top, so it'll be a journal entry.
Okay.
Office supplies, it's fluctuated a bit over the years, but 8 may be a little high, we'll look at that one. Payroll processing fee, we don't have that anymore, and as soon as the second preceding year drops off, that'll drop off of this list. Printing, can you think of specific jobs, Mary, that we put into that account?
Oh, I would say when you put out the budget book, that's printing, most likely, or are you
We
thinking
don't go
external
outside and print
printing?
much anymore. We used to do more. Used to do more
Got it.
printing of our schedules, the big folded ones with
Oh.
the stuff. So this probably could be knocked down a
It
little
has to
bit,
do
you know.
with our servicing of our copier, of our copy machines.
It's in 2 places.
So we pay the lease and then we
pay a
also
lease
pay,
for the machine, and then we pay a service
Copy.
agreement, and we pay per printed copy, yes.
Okay, never mind then.
That's a lot.
Good to
does
know.
that include the
It's
cartridges
typical.
and stuff?
Not really,
Oh,
not really.
All right, professional services,
That's
know,
knocked down a lot.
that's down quite a bit. And I'm trying to think what might fall into that right off the top of my head.
HR answers, bus inspections.
What is in it?
HR answers, so Sue uses, or we use HR answers, for different questions, for things, the translation, that we do for like our applications and all of that kind of stuff, falls into that.
And you can go
but
from
you might want to.
from a budget of 77,000 to an actual of 13,000 to 2.
We'll look at that one also.
Yeah.
It should be a little bit more because I'm just saying the translation I'm using quite a bit with documents, and it's $150 to $200 per document.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Does Sue wanna weigh in on this?
No, I think
Okay.
we're fine. Okay.
Okay, taxes and licenses.
Pamela has a question.
Oh, Pamela,
So have you dispensed with credit cards, is that right?
Credit cards are currently frozen.
Okay,
It's a tool that actually saves the district money when we use them. We just need to take a look at our policies and make sure that we're controlling that adequately.
so the expenses that were charged on credit cards are now in these figures?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Taxes, we're on line 35, taxes and licenses.
Can't do nothing with that one.
Yeah, let's just start with there, there's not a lot, but
Okay, telecommunication and internet.
sounds like a utility bill.
Yeah, I think that's our
it's our
phone.
phone and our internet, yep.
And that's okay.
So that's good.
And the tablets on the buses, where would those fall? Like that service,
That's under that too.
that's under that.
Is it Swiftly
Because it's-
under there?
That's Swiftly's fee is under,
Well, you need internet service for the tablet, so it just,
Is it using subscription?
Yeah,
Swiftly's under two subscriptions,
okay.
but we pay to Verizon, our phone. And internet, we pay to Verizon for that stuff too, so.
So that's our office phones, our cell phones, and our internet.
Yes, sir.
Line 37 is uniforms. Well, that's lower than it's been, but expected to be. We may bump it a little because we had figured out this figure on just a reduced service.
Right,
But if we're gonna have more drivers, especially if we're gonna end up having to hire drivers, because
they don't have.
people that are let go don't come back, we have to buy whole sets of uniforms. So
Got it.
we'll look at that again as well.
All right.
Utilities, they're pretty necessary, and I think we're budgeted right on for that. Vehicle maintenance and repair, now, again, I'm sorry,
That's a substantial reduction.
it is, but again, we
But
were looking
fewer
at running
buses.
3 or 4 buses, and now we may be running more, so we'll certainly need to update that one.
So let me ask you something, if you're gonna sort of mothball a few buses, don't you have to still take them out periodically to keep their joints supple?
Your point is well
I
taken.
don't know how else to say it.
That's ideal. What we typically do is we just start the buses regularly in the lot
Okay.
and make sure that, the tires aren't flat, the doors are locked, and the batteries are charged.
Right, okay.
Okay.
Charles,
I'm
yes.
sorry, Jesus.
No, you're good.
Madam Chair. We're not brought back the mechanic yet, right? We're not done that yet.
We have brought a
We have,
mechanic
okay,
back,
we need
yes.
that, so.
Yeah.
So the maintenance cost is maintenance and repair, not
It's the
what the
hardware.
mechanic does. It's
Right.
it's
This is parts and labor,
Parts and labor.
supplies, or parts and
Parts and
supplies.
Supplies, okay, guys.
Materials and supplies, that's what I'm trying to say.
I have a question. Where does property taxes lay in this?
They were on the resources page at the very bottom of the resources page.
Their income.
This is expense,
The stuff we pay.
and the district doesn't pay property tax.
We don't?
No.
No.
That's nice. It's like a church.
It's because it's a governmental entity.
Because it's a special.
Right.
Thank you.
Sure, and Tracy, you had something.
I just had a question, that where the transit app costs would be in this?
You train internet,
They're,
isn't it in telecommunications and
That
Telecommunications?
would make sense.
the transit app, like the fees that go with token transit,
Correct.
those are in,
the internet, right?
no, those are in,
Telecommunications.
they're in with, bank fees.
No, they shouldn't be.
Probably. What was it?
Dues and subscription
Yeah.
fees.
We'll verify that.
Okay, thank you. Deanna,
Where would the cleaning and upkeep of our bus stations go? Building
Building.
grounds and maintenance? Thank
that
you.
makes sense. Okay.
And line 40, shop supplies. It looks like it's running a lot higher this past year. We'll have to revise that because we're probably gonna figure some added service there. So we've got the ones that require some looking at, a couple of questions to answer, and we'll go line by line based on new funding expectations.
And we had the purchase of the buses in the original, and then we decided that wasn't, we don't have the match for that, so that's what was taken out.
The capital outlay,
Yes.
Yes.
Line 44.
right?
Okay.
Okay, any questions on that page? Pamela?
I don't have it on the page, but sometime I'd like the question of AccuFund answered. So we've had comments that some of the figures are not accurate because of AccuFund. And I think you're being trained with John from Columbia County, is that right?
Not on AccuFund. John from Columbia County is bringing me other information, but not on AccuFund.
Okay, so what about AccuFund?
What is AccuFund?
It's our accounting program.
I see, okay.
The software itself, right?
So what is happening with that?
Can I answer? AccuFund, I don't know that AccuFund has been producing inaccurate results.
We were just told that.
But they're very difficult results to get out of the system. You can't ask for a report and get what you want. You can't enter an amount without going through several screens and several steps. We recently completed the triennial compliance review with RLS and Associates and ODOT reps, and their recommendation was to replace that system. It's been problematic for payroll, even more than general finances. It doesn't allow us to easily do fund accounting, which may well play into why funds were handled the way they were in recent past. So I realize it's going to be an expense, but looking at the way systems have evolved, I think there's probably a cloud-based system that's affordable that will do what we want, and that we can have relevant support. Very, very difficult to get support on AccuFund. If it doesn't do what we want, then they figure we shouldn't want it because they're not going to change it.
How long have we had AccuFund?
It went into place, July of 2020.
What's frustrating is that the previous accounting system also had problems. So I'm wondering if that, and maybe this has been done, to talk to other jurisdictions, what they use and what the problems are, and have an outlay when we're asked to choose something. And, yeah.
That was my comment, is that other jurisdictions have, as well as the state, have had circumstances and troubles. And so this is just not germane to us, but through the systems, we need to do something different. Thank you.
Just to add a little reference, if we can here, I had made a comment about why the state didn't come up with a system that worked well and everybody use it. We get the the benefits of a discount. But it was pointed out to me that that's not really the state's place to tell us what system to use and how to do our stuff, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
However, I also want to remind the committee here that when we needed dispatch software to go to the next level with our paratransit system, we worked with Tillamook County, and we piggybacked on their installation. We bought our own 5 licenses on their system, and they had paid the 6 figures to have that system developed and installed, and we just paid a small license fee for each of our tablets. And so there are other ways to get to where we have to go. But I think the bottom line here is that AccuFund has created a lot of angst among us and the auditors and timekeepers, and it's been recommended that we replace it.
Yeah. Debbie.
I was in the debriefing of the audit that they did, and their words were, AccuFund is not our friend.
So we have understanding from ODOT in consideration of the money that they are going to give us.
I doubt it.
That because of fund balance is very important, and for at least 6 months, which I tracked, it's all the same thing. So that I'm just putting in a plug.
I think you're being lucky.
So I do believe that the budget committee could make a recommendation to the board that they pursue the hows and costs of replacing AccuFund. I believe that would be something that this committee could recommend to the board. Do I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Tracy McDonald, seconded by Pam Alegria. I always say it wrong. I'm sorry.
That's good, just put happiness, that's what
Alegria. And is there any discussion? All in Yes,
So, thank you. I would suggest we've got 5304 planning money coming up here real soon, probably within, apply for in the next, 3 to 6 months. And it'd be available July 1 of 2024. That you could do a feasibility study and decide which system's gonna be best for you. And that, you get that paid for. I mean, there would
through
be
the grant
match,
money.
but, not a sizable amount, I think 20% or something like that.
Great.
And I think Deanna has something to say?
Yes, so if we were to replace the accounting system, that would be this fiscal year, correct?
No promises.
No
What-
problem.
and what Arnold's saying is that we do a feasibility study this year to identify a system and then we budget it in the following.
Okay, yeah, because I was wondering like where we would put that in, because I know it would be a substantial amount to
Well,
Be in the
switch.
next fiscal year.
And you notice that the motion didn't say go out and purchase, it said to pursue and basically consider,
Look into,
look into it, yes,
thank you.
okay. Is there another one, Pam?
Is there any, is AccuFund responsible for outlay of numbers that you can financially ding them?
I don't think so.
So you can put out a bad product and get away with it?
You don't even wanna go there, Pam. Every day.
Okay,
Okay, so any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, so the budget committee will be is making that recommendation to the board. Okay, so we finished this page,
So then the second page that I just gave you guys is
that would be Form LB.
Just end it
Another new page that was given to us.
just
43?
before we started this.
No.
It's not page 43, it's a page we haven't had before.
Okay.
It's a
It would have been
replacement to page 43.
Okay,
So does everybody have the page?
this one?
Yeah, it has a big-
And resources.
It says requirement summary not allocated to an organization, unit or program, general fund.
Do you have an additional one there?
It's LB 30.
Well, they're all LD thirties now that I've kind of looked at it.
Oh, they are?
Oh,
do you have an extra one, Mary?
They're all.
How many copies? How many copies?
yeah, that
Yeah. Okay,
I'm sorry, which page are we on?
It would be
it
page
was a new one that you don't have.
Mary should have, Mary
Mary
emailed it to you.
emailed it to you.
But
Okay.
it was page 43. It replaces
It
page
replaces
43.
page 43.
this one?
So most of it is zeroed out, so we go straight down to line 29.
And again, this is gonna change based on resources and requirements.
Yes, so this is gonna be replaced again, so.
Thank you.
Anybody else? You need something.
So it's going to be, so the 6,454,000 is gone?
Yeah, the new sheet shows it as 84,986. And that would be for operating contingency. That's just in case we run into something we hadn't anticipated. The next line 35, why do we have that reserved for expenditure?
For future expenditures.
So that's
Okay, what should it be?
Operating contingency.
So,
What
so is this all new information, because there's no history, I mean, history is 50,000. To the left of these
Yeah.
numbers.
It was past practice to put 50,000 in there each year, and if I remember back years when it started, it was to build a fund to replace the roof on this building. Is that what you remember? And I don't think we replaced the roof, and I don't think there's any money left in that fund. So we're kind of starting from square one.
Is this the operating contingency you're talking about? Had 125,000 last year?
No,
Oh, it's different.
we're looking at last year, total requirements not allocated, and at $50,000 the previous years. Tell me.
These two numbers together in one under operating contingency.
Okay, so what we intended here was the 84,986 and the next line 345,415 would be combined on line 25 as operating contingency.
And that is on line 30.
0 on line 30, and then line 31 would be unappropriated ending balance. I don't know how we ended up with 500,000 exactly, but we'll look at that one too.
And an unappropriated ending balance means it cannot be spent at all during the fiscal year.
Not without a supplemental budget.
Correct.
Yes, I agree.
All right.
I agree. Okay. All right, so that leaves us a total requirements, which I'm assuming is the total of the last two pages, at $2.927 million.
One of the things I remember discussing in previous meetings is how large should that unappropriated ending balance be? And that was a discussion that the budget committee would have, and it all depended on all the other moving parts of the budget. So we may still have that discussion on how large that should be. And
Yeah.
theoretically, it might be 3 months of operating expense, but
Well, and I don't know, Tita, there's operating contingency,
yeah,
that might be
that
that.
might be that.
I think that the unincorporated ending balance is gonna be what it is after you take all your resources, subtract your requirements, it's gonna be what's left over. And I would think you would want that to be as large as it can be
Exactly.
and still operate effectively,
Exactly,
because that'll end up being part of our cushion.
yes.
And on our previous discussions with that, we talked about a larger balance at that time. And we just kind of fixed on the 50,000 as an end result. But there was a lot of discussion about being a larger amount.
So I think we have a different vision on those lines, right?
Mhm.
Plus the fluidity of drivers, plus the fluidity of how many drivers, we're gonna increase costs as we will build service, so exponentially, everything, most of what we do will increase. Depends on how many people we bring back, how many buses we put back on the road and everything else, so.
True.
But theoretically, as the costs increase, I mean, you've got to look at your resources, you've got to look at your costs. And if you have this ending fund balance that you've decided on at the beginning of the year, even when you do a supplemental budget,
Yeah.
you try to keep that same level.
But the
Because you don't
initial,
want to be borrowing from your ending fund balance.
but the initial number could vary, the amount, it's fixed numbers, it's not a fixed number there, but that is a fixed number.
Once you decide on it, it's pretty fixed.
You mean from year to year, Charles?
Yeah, just, the contingency money is money we saying, okay, let's set this aside for the unexpected, right? So what we're saying,
Yes.
it's gonna be a guess anyway, because we don't, of the unknown could happen. The building could burn down or whatever.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have said that, but
Yeah.
But, so that number, it's tough, it'll be tough to get that number. And
It is.
This is kind of hoping for the best with the 50,000.
But the difference is, you have contingency and you have ending or unappropriated ending balance. The contingency you can use during the fiscal year. The unappropriated ending balance is supposed to be your beginning fund balance for the very next fiscal year.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I get that. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Okay,
Pam.
one, we had asked, well, I had asked for the contingency to be on our monthly report, and I was told that was not necessary, but under the circumstances, I would like that to be it's not gonna change, so there's no work. If it changes, you're supposed to tell the board anyway. And the other thing that seems to have happened is, and it's in our manual, that anytime there's a transfer of funds, that the board is to be notified. And I don't think that's always happened. For example, there was wages, which is of course our largest is fuel. And where did you get this money? And the answer was here and there. And I would stress that that's not appropriate, and I am not gonna be nice about it the next time I hear it. So that if there is a change of transfer, you all of a sudden go, whoa, I have $100,000 bill to pay today. I have to transfer stuff. Just tell us, we may say, well, it wasn't a good idea.
But there's a difference there. If the transfer is more than 10% of the budget, you have to vote on it first as a board. If it's less than 10% of the budget, the operations is required to inform the board.
I thought that meant if you asked for more.
No, if you have a fund transfer. And I'm going from what I know, what I experience in city
Okay,
council.
so what is the answer, ODOT or Kelly, Paul, or anybody else?
Somebody's gotta check the state laws.
Yeah, well, I would say that this may be an issue for the board to discuss, but if the committee would like to make that recommendation to the board, I would think that would be, what you're actually asking is for greater transparency to internal transfers.
Right.
And I don't think
yeah.
these days that's unreasonable to ask. So where you are now, you can, vote on a recommendation to the board, or you can wait till tomorrow and get it in an agenda change.
Well, I'd like to do it today because you have the budget committee,
Well, remember, today is a recommendation from the budget committee to the board. Tomorrow, you're actually at a board meeting
Okay,
Yeah, tomorrow.
okay,
and you're a board member.
okay, thank you.
So we'll let you work on that tomorrow.
I have a question,
Christine,
and maybe
yes.
I'm not supposed to be asking this question or making a statement. So Jeff Hazen resigned, and hopefully the audit will be completed prior to Hazen getting, I'm just throwing this out there. I don't know if I can, but I'm just throwing it out there. Prior to a settlement, whatever that means, with somebody that has quit a position. Because when I quit positions, I don't get a severance package. So I hope the audit's completed first, so you have the valuable information in front of you as a board, so that you know what to do going forward. That's my 2 cents worth from where I've been in life.
There's no
It's
time
contract, so the lawyer's
right?
looking at that.
There's no,
Okay,
But
so
when you quit.
Deanna.
I just wanted to, if you could, I believe that you said that on item 30, reserved for future expenditure, that amount should be different, or is that the correct amount?
It should be added in with the contingency, the operating contingency. Those two numbers should be one.
So 30 should say 0,
right,
and then it should only be 84,096
add
for both?
you add the 345 to the 84, and that's what you put in line 29, operating contingency.
So on line 30, it should be 0, and on line 29, it should be 400.
430401.
Can somebody please tell me the actual amount?
430401.
Thank you.
Say again, what's the total?
430401.
Which will
My
probably
calculator
change on
said.
June seventh.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanna have one more question.
Okay, Pam.
Well, that's a lie, but, with the unappropriated ending balance, that's actually a requirement
It
in
is.
terms of, so we assign that amount, so it's a requirement, it's not, and that goes forward to the next year, and you have it calculated that how much you've used of it, so you see those figures. No?
You don't use any of it during the current year.
I thought you could do that with the supplemental budget. Or-
You have to work hard to take money out of unappropriated. There's some rules about it. That's why you wanna make sure you have an adequate contingency fund.
Like
Okay.
robbing Peter.
Then
to
the
pay
next
Paul.
question would be if it's hard to use it, and we're in a financial crunch here, can you lower it?
Can I speak to that?
You wanna keep running the business, so you wanna make sure that you've got
Right.
monies there, that's the goal. If you don't have the monies, if you reduce it, then that means you're gonna reduce services again. That's not the goal. The goal is to increase services, to get us back where we were.
You know, I guess the concern I have is the whole in providing services. And people need transportation now, so I'm asking if you can lower the appropriations money, and then when things get a little better, or at least we're on an even keel, whether we could put money back into the appropriated.
$500,000 is not a hard and fast number. We are gonna decide what number's there on June seventh.
Oh, so this is up for negotiation?
Yes.
It's
The whole
not
thing is-
negotiation, it's
Oh,
computation.
excuse me.
Yeah.
Paul had something to say, and I
Well,
don't hear what he had to say.
I just wanted to say that money that's there to be carried over as your beginning balance next year guarantees that we can run the business on the first day of next year. If we didn't have that, or if it was too low, we don't get funding the day we open the doors on July first. It might be the middle of July or later. We need that money available to carry us through until funding comes in. So it's necessary. We should try and keep it at a healthy level, and we should live within our budget. You know, if there's an emergency like I'm going through now, everything is different. Everything's on the table to do what you gotta do, but we're moving to operate in a healthier way. And the unappropriated money is what's left over after you identify what you need, including your contingency to run the business. And you wanna have some left over. You don't wanna spend your last penny.
Okay, and I agree with that. I have a little trouble, I sometimes look at this as a mythical budget. So there's no money, very little. And so I have a little difficulty operating with no money. And then we carry over no money to July first, or very little money. Okay, that's all I have to say.
This is really more about July next year, 2024 carryover. We had nothing to carry over now.
This isn't
This-
present
This is
day.
the 2024
45.
carryover to 25, is what we try
Oh,
to do
not
that.
into the July 2023.
That's
I'm saying,
correct.
but
Okay.
no, we don't have anything carried over now. We got what Tracy had in his pockets, that's what we got.
I can write a check.
Hey,
You were reading my mind, Charles.
Peter?
Okay, I'm sorry, Paul.
Is there a plan for the unappropriated ending balance to be a percentage of the total income? Or you just gonna have just a number out there? I mean, do you want it 10%, do you want it 20%?
There's,
Just,
I think there's all sorts of theories about what to do, how to compute an ending fund balance. And it all depends on what's your budget that year, what are your fund needs? Before you can have a hard and fast rule, you have to know what your resources are, what your requirements are. And it may be so your requirements may be so much that you have less of an ending fund balance. But I can tell you, every year that I've sat on this committee, we've done a different ending fund balance. And it's been the budget committee that has decided this is where we think it should be.
Well, I just know if there was a proposal, of if we have expenditures of 2 million, it's just a number.
Yeah.
And you want, make sure to get the next year, you want to carry at least a month. So you want to carry at least 10% or maybe 15% over on your ending fund balance. It's just, is there any rule that you're all proposing?
I wouldn't go by percentage. I would be looking at hard dollars.
Well, I mean, again, if it costs you, it's an easier number. 1.2 million to operate the whole year. And you know you're gonna need to carry over at least a month to get into your next month for 2 months. Wouldn't you wanna take, 120,000, 240,000, so that you have that 2-month cushion? Or you just,
I mean, it could be one of the scenarios that this committee looks at on June 7th to decide what that is. Somebody could say, 10% of that would be this, and we
Budget
could
law
say
says
that's
until you get more funding, the amount of money until your next funding comes in, is
Right.
what budget law says. So it's just a matter of trying to figure out, and figuring out like a month or 2 months. We wouldn't, we would have some funding in July, the beginning of July, but then we wouldn't have more funding until probably August. So just trying to figure out, what that's gonna look like going forward. And it's different this year than it has been in the past, so using our past trends is harder.
right, yeah. So that's one of the things that we will want from you at the next meeting is, what do you think is a reasonable amount to set aside for July and August of 2024?
Jason.
Jason,
There's a comment on the chat, want me to read it?
yes, please.
Okay, all right. From LGE LMG 900. States, just curious, will fares be increased to make up the deficit?
You can't, that's charge for $50 a ride or something.
I have no plans to increase fares. It's been the vision of this district, whether it was spoken out loud or not, to move toward a fare-free system. Many
Yes,
properties are going that way. I think that our fares account for less than 10% of our revenue these days. So there's no plan to increase fares.
thank you.
Charles.
Charles.
Maybe you can hear this. A couple folks have asked me, just raise the bus fare tickets and make it. How many, could you explain to all listening, how many people who ride the bus regularly, let's say monthly, and what it would take to get the budget in line with, based on that fund, on those passengers?
That kind of discussion though, Charles, there is no bus system around that exists on the fares.
I understand
They
this.
can't.
I know this.
It's a public service.
I know this, not even where I moved to Washington DC, they.
Oh, God, no. You think Metro?
is taxed,
No.
it's funded, all of them are, but I don't think some people ask me, say, well, just raise the bus fares, $2 and you can fix this, but that won't do it, $2 won't do it.
We cater to a particular ridership here. It's hard for them to come up with a dollar.
I saw some,
And we're here to serve them. We're not here
exactly.
to fix our budget or to make a profit or to look good. We're here to serve those people. So it's not in the best interest of our mission
Right.
to raise fare. And I might just, as a point of interest, indicate, I read an article yesterday about Metro Transit in Los Angeles. They're having a fare evasion problem. They lose $400 million a year to people that don't pay their fares. $400 million.
Just go for it.
So anyway, it's not really relevant, but it's stuck in my head.
No, you're right, when I see them, I say, well, we really don't run a for-profit bus company, and no one does in the whole country, but I think there's some belief that we just should raise the bus fares, and I think that's why I want you to raise that.
And in many cases, raising bus fares will lose ridership.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
won't listen to me saying that, I could get calls, you said.
Arla, yes.
So there's been studies done that it actually costs you more in time and all the work you put into it, counting fares, doing all that processing, it costs you more than the fares you collect. So that's why a lot of agencies are going to Fairless. And then I know some people are worried about the transients spending all their time on the buses. What the agencies are doing is limiting it to an hour, and then the bus driver asks them, did you have the final destination? So that's, there's been concerns about that, but, if you could go fare free, it's gonna save you time and money.
Right.
Yeah, and endearing to the community.
Yes.
That's good.
And increase your ridership, which means you can get more money for grants.
That's
Right.
true.
I won't be at the next meeting, so I have another question that probably
Sure.
I'm not supposed to ask. So,
Ask away.
Go
well,
for it.
so we're looking at salaries and wages, and, that could change or not. But if Mr. Hazen receives a severance, where is that figured into this, is it figured in? Where does the money come from?
Just to
Well,
put this at rest, that issue is with the attorneys now. The contract was written however it was written. Is really beyond anyone here's power to make a change in that.
But I'm asking where the money comes from.
And the money would have to come out of our general fund. It would come off, there's no place that's budgeted.
Contingency.
We would have to pull it out of someplace, maybe contingency.
Yeah, we gotta put in a contingency.
It would depend on what our status was at the time that we had to make that expenditure as to where we would take it. But
Maybe out of my salary.
My salary too.
I'll throw mine in from when I help with the food bank.
Maybe we can just all donate.
I mean, I'm just curious, because it's like people, people out there are,
That,
They're worried
well, they're
about
very
it.
upset because somebody really hurt them, desperately hurt them. I think of all the people, the medical people, the people that can't get out to the food bank to get their food that's not getting delivered now.
Yeah.
It doesn't end, it just goes on, and so many people were hurt, and that hurt will never go away.
Well, we don't have to pay it in full, we can make payments. There's nothing that says it has to be paid in
Well,
full.
let's
Well,
not even
we-
plan
I
that
think
till we
we
see
can't
what.
get into
That's
the
all right.
particulars. That's the means, please.
that's all right.
What? Oh, Jason,
Okay,
I'm sorry, I didn't see
no,
you
no
back there.
problem, no problem. Again, from LGELMG 900, comment. Thanks, I'm Sheila Rickards, and I'm glad to hear from the board you're not about the money. I know it requires it to run, but not mandating fares increase to make up the deficit makes me proud to hear.
Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you.
Okay. So,
One last thing, can I say?
yes, Charles.
Is, I often hear this say, well, when I quit my job, I don't get a severance. It's different than you quitting your job and not getting a severance. Mr. Hazen had a contract with us. So that's why you have the lawyers looking into it. You don't have a contract when you go to work for whomever. But he does. So I told him that's why the lawyers are having this, because he has a contract and we have to go by the letter of the contract, whatever it says.
That's true. Okay, so we know that we're gonna have a lot of changes. We know that we have another meeting, June 7th, planned for 10 to 4. And we're going to get a whole new set of everything. Please get it to us a couple days ahead of time so people can study it. If you have that chart of accounts definitions, I think that would be helpful for all of us. And I'm trying to remember, but I think I remember that in order to adopt the budget, there's also the specific wording about the ad valorem tax. If you could make sure that we've got the exact words that we need, thank you.
Mary takes care of it.
Mary.
We can't change the rate, I don't believe.
I think that would be a voter referendum or something.
Yes, we have the
No,
rate.
no, we can't change it, no,
I
I
have
just,
it with it on it too.
you have to know what it is, yeah. Well, that is what I was saying, I don't know what that.
All right, so at this point, what I want to do is go around the table, and does anybody have any comments for the good of the order?
we have to vote on the budget to pass on to the board on the June
June 7th.
meeting, so we need to have
Yeah,
Board
if we,
agreeable.
because if we can't vote on it June 7th, then the
June the
next.
29th, we have to be back, because you gotta have it done by the 30th, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
when is your board meeting, in June?
Be
22nd,
June 20,
Fourth Thursday.
fourth Thursday.
The fourth Thursday. So if we can't vote on it June 7th,
It's gotta be
we are gonna have
21st.
to reconvene
After that.
No,
between
before
the
that.
7th
Yeah.
and before the next board meeting in June.
Yeah.
So we'll have to have another date in June. So
June the 7th.
that means that, A, we need a quorum. B, we need full and complete information, so we can make a decision.
And then if we do meet again, we would have to put out another legal notice,
That's right.
and that's a big deal
And you
because
have
it
to
has
do
to be.
it 24 hours? Or is
No,
this
it's gotta be
too?
longer than that.
Okay.
I'll look it up, but how long is it? Well, this one had to be, if you put it, there's some stipulations, but 10 days. Okay. Pretty much 10 days. If you put it in the, if you put it in, on your website, you don't have to go out as far. So,
Okay.
Can you put as a tentative meeting and pick a date just in case, so then it's there? I guess not.
No, because then we have to go to the expense of doing everything. Okay, Christine, any comments?
I would advise, I appreciate you two getting things together. I would suggest that you two work closer together. There's a lot of information that we didn't have here today. There was a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of I don't know. This is the first I've heard, and that's not what I appreciate hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Paul?
Nothing.
Okay, Charles?
I don't think there was any intentional misinformation passed out here. I would just say that for the record. I think they were working under extreme circumstances. And maybe some things were maybe omitted, but I don't think there was any misinformation that was passed on here today.
Mary Ann?
Most of the time I speak quite freely. But everybody else pretty much says things that I agree with, and you see me nodding, and we can prepare this budget, you know, as best we can. And yet things, and I've been on this for what, 5, 6, 7 years, but, and then what happens is something like COVID rears its ugly head, and then the whole thing is changed. And now something like this comes up. And so it seems like there's always a monkey wrench in things. And these are two big examples that I've seen, and it's scary. This last one is scary to me. And judging from social media, it's frightening to people out there too.
Yes. Thank you, Mary. Debbie?
I guess I just wanna say that nobody was brought back to work until May 5th. Today's the 24th, that's 19 days that these two have pulled together what they've got.
Right.
And I think they've done a really, really good job. There's a lot of questions that still need to be answered. These two didn't work together at all before now. So I think they've come together and done a damn good job for the time they've had. There was nothing of a budget to get started with. So, thank you both.
among a lot
Yes.
of other things
Among
that we've
a
been
lot of other
working on.
things that
Oh
we've
my
been doing
God.
also. Jason did something.
Jason?
I have two things. I have a comment from an individual, Nicole Searle. I just want to say I'm proud to be a part of this organization. I want to say thank you to the board for all your hard work. Thank you to Paul for his hard work, and Arla and the rest of the staff. We are really here for our community, and please continue to bear with us. Thank you. That's from Nicole Searle, and then we have a hand up here for Mindy.
Yes.
Yes.
In the packets that I've had in the past, I've seen P&L statements, and I have not seen one in a while. Is there a way to get the past 2 to 3 years worth of P&L statements?
What's P&L?
Profit
Profit and loss statements?
Which you should be seeing at the board level.
You see them in the financials.
Right, can you provide those to us? Thank you. Okay, Guillermo?
Yeah, my name's Guillermo, and I'm glad we're having this meeting. As some of you have known, when all this came down, I was in Egypt, Jordan. And some of you know I work for Child Welfare, and we've been getting a lot of questions. I've been getting a lot of questions because people know I'm on the board, and we've been getting a lot of questions from the clients we work with. And I will tell you that there's a lot of concern out there, and I just want to say that it's, unfortunately, a lot of our clients don't say thank you to those of us who are doing this kind of work here. But I will tell you that the population out there that we serve is really grateful for what we're doing and trying to, because we know this, but a lot of people rely on us for transportation for various things, shopping, doctor appointments, including, our veterans who continue to struggle. So I appreciate all your efforts.
Thank you. Tracy?
I have been a board member probably the longest of you group. I have been through not one, but two of these emergency situations. The one, I was a provider when that one happened. I'm amazed by those two staff members up there for what you guys have been able to do. I'm just flabbergasted. I want everyone in the county to know. And I used to, in my previous life, would travel to 300 stops a day. And I would visit and I would get their concerns as to where was the bus and what were we doing. And then one particular veteran, his wasn't the first stop on Red Bluff Road, and the only reason my boss looked at me and said, "Why are you spending 20 minutes at this stop?" I said, "Because I'm the only one every 2 weeks that sees this man, and he needs to talk to somebody." So, so I guess we had to adjust my budget for that. So I know what the roads are like out there. I know what the bus drivers go through, because I used to do that. And I understand the budgetary process, and we need more open discussion about budgetary matters. And I will understand that. I will try to comply with that. Thank you.
Thanks, Tracy. I'm glad for this meeting today, and I think we all did our part. Really, truly, it's not, this is an unprecedented. I've done a lot of community work throughout the years, and this is a tough one for me. I mean, this was really sobering. But I do believe that we all have the best of intentions, and I think that we're gonna pull through this. I know we will. And we're gonna have to take our knocks for for what we didn't do right, and just keep moving on. I think the public, I hope, eventually will regain the trust that, we deserve. But I do think we have the people here on board that are gonna make this come together. And I'm proud to be a part of this organization, and I know that we're going to do the business, the people's business, which is just getting those buses back on the road. That's just job one.
I'd like to thank Paul and Kelly for putting together from scratch this budget. A lot to do, and I also would like to know we're really doing a good job here. And so if you want to speed up, we're ready for it.
Deanna.
I want to thank Paul and Kelly for putting this together, and I also want to thank everybody on the committee for showing up, for helping us figure this out, and for all of your questions. Please speak up as much as you like, and just looking forward for the June 7th so that we can get a little more clarity on what we can count on. Thank you, and thank you for everyone also at home.
So we now have the opportunity to get comments from the public. I do believe we have one so far, and anybody else in the public, we are taking public comments at this time.
Okay, so text in from LGELM G900. Also wanted to say great job getting buses back up, especially with the summer season on us.
Okay, so is there anybody else in the public who wants to make a comment? I'm just coming over here to you, Arla.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, I'm sorry, if you want
No, I want to go to you next.
I just want everybody to know, I've seen a lot online in the social media, and I really wish it wasn't there. Social media wasn't a thing anymore, but it is. The board members had no clue this was coming. When we went back in the initial search of records, there was no way they could tell this was coming because they were not given accurate data. So I'd like the public to know that. The real story's not getting out there. So the board members are not at fault. It was withheld from them. Thank you.
Thank you, Arla.
Any other comments from the public? I take it there is.
Paula, can I say one quick thing?
Yes.
Our job as board members is to micromanage the business. We have no authority to go into Kelly and say, give me this. Our job is to advise the executive director, to hire the director, we advise him, and if he's doing a
And to
terrible.
set policy.
Set policy, right? And if he's not doing a good job, get rid of him. But we do not micromanage the business, day-to-day business. We have no authority to do that, so.
Okay, any comments from staff?
Ladies first.
I just want to thank you all for coming and going over everything with us and being patient with me. I have sat in on the budget the last couple of years, but as far as my having a lot to do with it, I haven't. So as there's mistakes, through the spreadsheets and stuff, I am still learning all of this, still figuring it out. I've learned a ton of things over the last few weeks. So I'm doing my best to get everything going. And I knew that there was pieces that were missing in these spreadsheets, but I wanted to be able to give you what I had and what we were looking at for going forward and what Paula and I were expecting at that time going forward. And I know it seems really muddy as it just keeps changing. But by our next meeting, I'll have them all ironed out and we'll have our new upcoming budget figured out and ready to present in a more presentable way. So thank you for your patience with me.
Kelly, thank you for the clarification. I appreciate it.
This is extremely rewarding for me to work with this group of people, to have worked with all the people on the staff, bus drivers, supervisors. This is a terrific group of people. It's just a sin that this thing had to happen. But there's no better material to build the district back from than the people who do the work and the people who sit in this room. So this is meaningful to me. We didn't reach a consensus this afternoon, but that doesn't mean the time was wasted. It was well spent. So I appreciate the process. I appreciate you all. I appreciate your patience.
Mary, any comments from you?
Sure. Been here since 2010, so I've been through quite a few of these, and in all different circumstances. And I think Paul is the 6th executive director I've been working with, so that's always really nice. But I so totally agree. We used to always plan 2 days for budgets because it took that long to dissect things out. And if it went faster than that, then you wondered what you missed, and a lot of times that happens. So what I really like about this is that this is really a deep dive into it, and it feels real. It just feels real. It's not the best situation, no doubt about it. But if you're gonna start over, this is the real way to start over. So I appreciate everyone as well. It's nice to see you all. Those that you have been on the committee for so long, you know a lot and you bring a lot. And we appreciate all of it. Good, thank you.
And for me, I feel, thank you for what the work you've done putting this all together. I feel like we all have an opportunity for re-education about budget. And I think we also, everybody, the board, the committee, the staff has the opportunity to renew and expand on transparency to the public. That is the most important thing. And when there hasn't been transparency to the board, then there can't be transparency to the public. So I thank you all for taking your day today, and we are in recess until June.
Jason?
Oh, Jason, I'm sorry.
That's okay, I was hoping
You're
to
back
get
in the corner.
I just want to tell everybody, each and every single one of you have done something to allow the rubber to hit the road, you know, to get going, to get this place started back again, and I appreciate that. You give me the opportunity to continue on 19 years and hopefully make it to 20. So there are a lot of people out there who need this service, and each and every single one of you have a unique and special responsibility to ensure that we come back stronger, better than we've ever been.
Yes.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And I would add, not only the public, but for all of the employees who have kept Sunset Empire Transportation District running and kept the system running for all the people in Hudson County.
Yes.
Thank you.
It shows their passion. It
Yes.
really does.
Okay, see you all. So we are in recess.
Can I just make